2 seconds.
There are mascots.
Welcome everyone to the Voice of the Terminus show. I'm your host Janita, and I'm joined by Lex. Say hello, Lex.
Hello.
And we're joined by Josh. Say hello, Josh.
Hey guys.
And in the background we have the wonderful Shy, our moderator, who will be looking after chat and asking you guys to send her some questions to ask towards the end of the show. Say hello, Shy.
Hello.
Oh, and keep those damn birds quiet, okay?
Oh, believe me, I'm trying. They're ready to be put into the pot in a moment.
And today we have the host from World of Monsters on YouTube, Arthur. Say hello.
Greetings, everybody.
So we're here to sit down with Arthur, he was actually fairly persistent to get onto the show. He was the one who actually bugged the hell out of me. Normally it's what I do. I normally basically push around, and he actually put his foot down and said, look, give me a date, I want to be on. So I threw dates at him and boom, it was today. So yeah, glad to have you on.
Yeah, thanks. Huge thank you for having me here.
Should we go and start it off, Josh?
Yeah. So Arthur, tell us a bit about your gaming background.
Alright, well, it all started on the floppy disk in those days. The smaller floppy disks. I did play around with the old bigger ones, but the real gaming started with those smaller, more compact ones with Arena, one of the first Elder Scrolls games out there, then Doom, and then all the Elder Scrolls upwards. So we got Morrowind, Oblivion, up to Skyrim, Daggerfall, first DVD or CD one. But the MMO world started for me, of course, with the beautiful EverQuest. Ultima Online was a little bit there. I didn't know much about it, but EverQuest just that was a whole new experience for me. And after that, the announce once I stopped playing EverQuest 2, and just looking at the graphics at that time, that was a huge rush, and all that hype was building up for that game. And alongside, almost soon afterward, it was Vanguard. And now EverQuest 2, I went back in, and it's a whole different thing. They don't have that beginner island. I kind of missed that beginner island. It was a cool experience.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, and so then I jumped into Vanguard, and I got my friend in MMO gaming like that too. And yeah, Vanguard was like EverQuest 2.0. Everybody was complaining, or at least that's what I read about the bugs and stuff. I never really experienced any serious bugs on Vanguard. It was a smooth, beautiful game for me, and part of the major reason why I'm excited about Pantheon, of course. So yeah, after a while I stopped with that, and then later found out they canceled that, and then the hype started building up again with EverQuest Next. I think for all of us here, because that was it seemed like the real game changer. So I was really excited about that and following that. Then they canceled that, and I kind of lost hope for MMOs. Through the years, I jumped into Guild Wars 2, Arcade, more recently Elder Scrolls Online, which was a big letdown because being a fan of the Elder Scrolls universe, I always said that I can't wait till these guys make an MMO. But after 20 minutes of playing, I was level 20. My armor looked amazing, which is not a good thing. And there was, I forgot what you guys call it. I'm kind of out of the lingo, but it's like a group of people. They're just botting. They're just running around and killing stuff automatically. And
basically botting, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a bot, and that's the first time I experienced that. I was trying to talk to them, and so the next hour I spent reporting them, and I left the game and never came back. So that was my experience with Elder Scrolls, unfortunately. So
you had more time than I did in that game, so.
A little bit, yeah. I did want to give it a shot. I did want to give them all a shot, but they all had something, and plus it's hard to say why you don't feel them anymore, because you're growing up too, and technology's growing up with you, so of course you'll never have that feel again. But yeah, so that's until now. And now I'm getting into board games and tabletop. Yeah, starting with board games and rather enjoying that single player starting out. You know, no friends, so it works.
Yep, the
No
good
friends,
the good old board games. Hey, you know those were actually there's some board games out there back in the 80s, early 90s that were pretty good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I started out with Hero Quest. That was a Christmas gift, and it's unforgettable.
Nice.
Snakes and ladders
stuff.
don't count.
That's a lie. So when you're playing in an MMO, what is your preference towards playing with, say, real life friends or friends that you know exclusively online?
It's the same for me either way. I'm one of those people. My first marriage was an EverQuest, if that tells you anything. Not real marriage, but in-game kind of marriage, just for all, just for fun. And running a guild and all that. So I played with people I went to high school with and all that. So I feel when you know people in real life, it gets a little bit more competitive, of course. You have that feeling because you always want to be at the same level with your friends so you can play together, but or higher, right? But with online friends, you don't get that as much as, you're not near them as much. So, but either way, you can form awesome relationships. And that's one of the most beautiful things with MMOs is connecting internationally. It's also where I developed my typing skills the most was EverQuest. So,
Same here.
Yeah.
Yep, definitely. So, you've obviously got a YouTube channel and you've been around a long time. So, what is your typical setup at home? System used, number of screens, graphics card, microphone. Tell us your swag.
Okay, well, my monitor isn't anything special because I've been moving around. I would have 2 at least by now, but again, because of moves, I had to cut down on that. Computer, I try to keep that up right now I have a graphics card 980 Ti, so it's pretty decent. Need more RAM, especially when I have all these windows open on Chrome. I run let's see, my camera that I use for filming, I upgraded to a Panasonic GH4. So those were awesome cameras for that. Now they released a GH5. I have a Zoom H4 right here. And I use a lavalier mic. That was a giant squid. It's a small company, affordable little lavalier, good mics. And yeah, my monitor's 4K. Pretty much the smallest, cheapest, I think, 4K you can get. And yeah.
Hey, 4K's 4K, mate.
It is. Especially for images. Non-moving objects.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, are there any of those items you are looking to try and upgrade with Pantheon in the mix?
I think once Pantheon. Now we're not sure yet, but I think once it's released, I think it'll be a good time for me to upgrade, and probably the whole computer by that point, the motherboard and everything. So get a better graphics card, kind of, yeah, at least to be able to max out the game. Hopefully, if I can't, that's still a good thing. That means
hey, you want to do that beforehand, dude.
Yeah.
You don't want to have any interruptions once a game's released. I presume you're going to build the system yourself if you do upgrade.
Yeah. So. Well, I'll still have this around. I'll just.
Okay.
My life, so.
Hey, you do what I do. You do what I do. You give the older system, hey, to the missus. I always the way I get my system all brand new and everything. I said, look, I'm going to buy a new PC and it's going to be for you. So I'm, to the wife, and then the PC comes, I start building it up, and I go, here's the old one. She's like, hang on a minute, why don't I get the new one? This is
like mobile phones too.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So, to get back into MMOs, I'm curious if you're a crafter, and if you are, what kind of crafting do you tend to focus on?
Honestly, I've never been too much of a crafter. I realize I didn't even know it's that big of a thing, but I realized watching you guys and listening to a lot of people out there, it's quite the thing. And watching a friend of mine fishing in Elder Scrolls the whole time, then I kind of got it. Yeah, there's something to it. I did it like in EverQuest, when you built your armor or found the items, that's when I kind of got into it and there was purpose. What's interesting with what you guys talk about on this channel too and the streams is the different thoughts, and I really hope that Pantheon pays attention to you guys, and I basically consider you guys the marketing team of Pantheon because you're really doing the best job at it. What I like that you guys mentioned is for different things to happen, if you're harvesting, like it triggers something, then it'll be more interesting, because I like the idea of it. It's just, it's too gamish, I guess, too mechanical. It doesn't feel real enough for me yet. So if it has different effects to it, then yeah, I'd love to craft, because who wouldn't? It's easy. And then if it's just more interesting, like you cut down a tree and a fairy comes out or something, or a nymph, that's got more lore to it, and yeah, it just feels more real, like you're having an impact by affecting the realm,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so, I mean, that's kind of sounds like, we're in the same boat, you and I, because I desperately want to be a crafter, but
Yeah.
it is just, in previous titles, it has been so boring.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the old days in EverQuest 2. The way the crafting worked there was actually fairly unique compared to what we had everywhere else, because you relied on all the other crafters to actually craft your goods in the end. And then the big major updates came along, and everybody could, you could do it all yourself, and it was kind of boring. Now, I used to love having to go to an alchemist to get glass vials to go and craft something, or get sheets for writing scribes and everything. It was really cool to interact with others. You had a sense of economy, you had a sense of competitiveness as well, and that all got taken away when you could all just go to the crafting table, you click, I want to craft 100 of these, you click go, you wait 5 minutes, and you're done.
Right.
So boring.
Yeah.
So they nerfed it. And I think at the beginning of EQ2 as well, you did such a bad job in your crafting, you could actually die.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I thought that was amazing the first time I died trying to craft or figured all the crafting stuff in EQ2. I was just like, wait, what?
That'll make you kill the reality.
Yeah. And to be honest, I enjoyed the old crafting and EverQuest 2. The new one was just like, bleh.
Yeah. It was dreadful.
So generic.
So, where are we? There we are. Yep. What class and race are you typically drawn to when selecting your character to play?
Okay, so my main for years in EverQuest was an enchanter.
Sweet.
And upon coming back to, I forgot when you asked me about my gaming history, I forgot to mention the kind of the ultimate peak of it, which was Project 1999. And a huge shout out to the EverQuest Project 1999, which is a project trying to keep the original game of 1999 running. Once I got into that, you expect that all that nostalgic memory I had kind of faded away after I got in there, which is good because you don't have that yearning anymore. And the people are awesome on Project 1999. It's like they're aware that this is what MMOs don't have these days. And everybody's really awesome, really helpful on there. So, yeah, that was really fun. And so back to the class thing, I got back to what I always wanted to make was a mage. Because, come on, I talk about monsters. I love summoning. I want monsters. And I want to have more than one pet in Pantheon. At least 2 would be cool. And not some, vanity pet thing, but actually with a purpose, a poipus. So,
with that being said, sorry to interrupt, have you tried Anarchy Online?
I don't think I actually ever tried it. I watched a friend play it.
They have a class called the Metaphysicist who has 3 pets at a time.
Ooh, 3.
Interesting experience.
Yeah, it's a cool game. I mean, people still play it. So,
yeah.
Yeah, so I enjoy the kind of the powerful magic casters with a little bit of a third dimension to it, rather than just a wizard that blows things up with nukes. Like the enchanter I loved in EverQuest because you could turn into a tree in the middle of nowhere, and surprise all the newbies because your name didn't appear anywhere, and you would just turn and surprise them. We used to do this thing where in the guild we would award someone, giving them Sow, Spirit of Wolf, and I would change into a coin, and it was in Kelethin, I think, that starter area there, and I would just turn into a coin, and whoever found the coin, we'd give him that, like, what do you call that spell, that buff. So
yeah.
Yeah, so I just enjoy classes like that, but I enjoy all classes, and yeah, we'll continue on that.
And race-wise, what are you interested in?
I usually like the thing that's least human to start with, but being a magic, wanting to be a powerful magic caster, I'll look for the kind of top there. So
that wasn't Scar, Lex. He wasn't going for Scar.
That's about as far from human as you get.
That's not as human far away.
And then shifted a
hey,
little bit.
Space gnomes. All I'm gonna say.
I'm sorry.
Gnomes from space.
You can take your D-sized Energizer gnomes and wherever you want. And then I'm still gonna consume them. Deal with it.
Ooh, space gnome.
That would be quite a drug.
It would be. It's very.
Actually, it does. Actually, Shai's written that now in chat, and just reading it like that, it does sound like some kind of drug. Here, have some space gnome.
Okay, so you've seen a lot of videos.
Of the Muppet Show with pigs in space, but
Gnomes in space. Sorry, Josh. Continue.
No.
Sorry for the interruption.
So you've seen a lot of the marketing for the game. You've seen a lot of the videos that have been released, a lot of the streams. What was your first wow moment when seeing all these exciting pictures and videos?
Right. For me, there wasn't any like specific wow moment. It was gradual, and that was about a year and a half ago. About that's when I kind of lost hope, and yeah, I didn't expect for any interesting MMOs to come out, not until possibly VR, the technology. So what kind of hit in is I started just watching closer and closer and finding out that Brad was part of the team and being a creator of Vanguard. I mean, he was the main creator of Vanguard. So this is like Vanguard, EverQuest 2.0 combined and refreshed, So that, and then listening to you guys, and then starting to read on their newsletters, which I suggest to anybody out there new to Pantheon, is follow their website and their monthly newsletters. They update with new graphics or whatever they've done. That's really cool too. So it's all that in combination, and that's where and then you guys, I started following you, and you guys went the most in depth. You theorized different things, and that's just fun and Brad's such an open person. I think you guys even had him on the show, if I remember correctly. Yeah. That he's actually, you can talk with him, and if you can talk to someone like that, you have the possibility of influencing the game, which is amazing. It's all built by community, and that's how he wants it. So that's the great thing. I did mention something to you, Yarnell, before about a kind of collaboration. If I can maybe mention that here.
Yeah,
now.
Sure.
Just some thoughts I had. So like I said, since Brad, you can actually kind of contact him. I was thinking of doing, because I do a yearly monster art contest every Halloween on the channel, and so I was thinking maybe get in contact with the people of Pantheon, and we can do a monster art a monster contest where people have to create one, and the one that's judged as the top, maybe we can have the developers design it into the game. Since there's gonna be monsters anyway, and they're thinking of all kinds of stuff, and this is a touch from the community, so it would have to be the top of the top.
Oh yeah.
Winner, So I was thinking, yeah, if Brad, if he's listening, you know, if he'd be open to something like that, maybe down the line we can combine our channels and have everybody participate and
Yeah,
know,
definitely.
the right judges from the team too. So
definitely, that's a cool idea. That'd be very interesting.
I gotta start sketching now because I have a
Yep.
little messed
Yep.
up imagination.
good.
Don't we know it?
Yep. Because I'm a little fan of monsters, so
Cool. Well, you know, EverQuest was like that. It had this kind of cartoony, innocent look, but then it had some pretty dark sides to it, even with the Iridites.
Ooh, yeah.
Since we're
Well, even Old World, you go to the basement of Unrest, you get that tentacle horrors. The first time you see one, I guarantee you, 9 out of 10 people went, "What the heck is that?"
sorry for sidetracking here, but that's what we do. You know, we're not
Wouldn't be asked
scripted.
about a sidetrack.
We're not scripted. There's nobody here. You know, there's no producer or director saying, "Hey, stay on script." You know, we can go completely off the script, and we're gonna do that right now because we kind of gotten into monsters. So, and we'll have some further questions for you, obviously further down the road. But what is for you the best monster that you've seen in film, game, you know, you name it? What's the monster
Hold
for
on.
you?
That's a loaded question, because do you mean the best visualized or conceptualized, or do you mean like the toughest one?
I'd say the best visually, and then Lex can ask you the toughest.
That's quite a question. I mean, covering all monsters out there, it's like choosing your own children, you know. There's a reason why there's such huge love for xenomorphs of the Alien franchise. That's all H.R. Giger, as we know, the creator, those aliens. Once you draw one of them, you'll kind of realize why they're loved as much as they are. Because in a lot of lists, they're, you know, regarded as the top movie monster or whatever. As far as aesthetically, I've always appreciated the gremlins, just aesthetically. The ears, the green skin, the paint of the skin, all of that work. It's like Goblin, but even cooler, you know, their whole face structure. Then you got ones with mohawks. They really have character. I've always loved critters. They're not very aesthetically pleasing, but they're just awesome little critters.
God, I remember them.
Yep, critters, man.
Yeah, Predator. And the thing is also when I do these videos, because I go really in depth on monster videos, which is kind of our thing with the channel, because a lot of people do monster videos like 5-10 minutes. I do them long. I go in depth until I just destroy the subject and nobody wants to hear about them. So
Pretty much
anytime
like
I
us.
do that, that's why I'm here to help you. So yeah, anytime I make those videos, I learn a lot, you know, like Godzilla. I didn't know much about Godzilla. I did a video about that. I'm a huge fan against Godzilla now. The Necromorphs of Dead Space. Huge fan. I really want to play the game now because I researched the lore. So yeah, I guess I'll stop at that because I could go on forever.
Well, then I guess I'll add, if given, you know, each monster to the appropriate scale, what do you think is the toughest monster?
So in my All About videos, I give them a scoring of 1 to 10. It's a very small scoring, but I go extreme. So people aren't happy with it because a lot of monsters stay in the same score, because 1 to 10 isn't big, right?
No.
I just like to keep it simple like that. Looking at Godzilla from movie monsters and such, he's powerful. I mean, he withstood a meteor hit. It's like, it's silly, you know. But what I regard as a 10 is like things outside of time and space. So even in the Marvel universe, you have like Thanos level, then you have the Celestials, then you have this, I think it's called the All One or the One, and that's pretty much outside of time and space. That's what I consider a 10, you know. So but as far as we know from movies and monsters like that, Godzilla is one of the top ones. When they talk about King Kong versus Godzilla, it's like, really, if you looked at the lore, you can't compare it. It's like Superman and Batman. It's only that kryptonite, you know. But
well, yeah, I mean, Godzilla is like a fire-breathing mutant lizard, and you just got a giant ape.
Yeah.
Different gods. You know, a lot of things go into the category of monster and bestiary. So you got the whole
Yeah.
Marvel universe, you know. So
You also
Right.
got the D&D universe as well. All its
exactly.
monsters.
Warhammer, it's a huge one too.
I mean, yes.
We used to not be able to do a monster cast. That's what I call our podcasts, without mentioning of Warhammer somewhere. 'Cause
Mm.
it's just their
Now,
lore is so
Age of
brilliant.
Sigmar or 40K.
Since Sigmar's new, I mean, love has risen for it, and I get it. The models are amazing. 40K's been continuing. It's hard for me to say because I haven't been playing for a while. But Sigmar's attractive as hell now. And by the way, guys, I want to thank you also, Yarn, for allowing me to steal the name of your show and adapt it to my own. Because actually, I wasn't thinking of doing a podcast. It's just I started Discord and we started chatting every Saturday. I just wanted to, do random chats because I don't have time to make videos as much anymore. And I was thinking, what's a good name? And the only podcast I kind of listen to more is Voices of Terminus. And it sounds so good. And I even came up with other ones and I let people vote. Which one do they want? And they chose Voices of the Monsterhood. So I wanted to make sure I shouted out to you guys for me being not creative. And, but also as a link of our channels together and in support of Pantheon, So
Awesome,
shout
dude.
out to all that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Creativity is a group effort.
Exactly. And for the
Exactly.
game to be successful and for the community to be successful, we all got to work together. Period.
That's right.
And take over the world, of course.
So
Yeah.
even though you mentioned Warhammer, and I could sit here and talk all day about Warhammer, I'm just gonna get back on track.
Yeah, drift us in the...
I
Drift
ran
us
it.
back onto the page.
Right. I mean, it's not often that I'm the one that gets us back on track. I'm usually the one derailing us. But when you consider all these different potential starting areas, one for each race, assumingly, which one are you most excited to see?
Let's see. The race, I'm curious about. You have the archive too. Those are really interesting too. But I think the Dark Myr, the merfolk kind of. I want to see what they do with it. I wish they could do more with it, but because of technicalities and stuff, they can't yet, or it just takes. I think with an update later, they can do more. And I want to see that. My problem is with games like this, once I get excited and get it, I'm going to want to see all the starting points.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And and before I'm going to get this game, I already actually organized every class to which race I'm going to be playing or have. I might not be playing them, but I'm already designing them, and even what names. Sometimes I do that already too, so I have this chart of everybody.
Smart man.
And that's what I did in that's what I did in Vanguard too, and that was beautiful. That's why Vanguard was EverQuest 2 really, because every race had their starting world. That's what EverQuest 2 ruined. It was so lazy on their part. They made this one starting area for the whole faction. Crazy.
Yeah.
So but yeah, Dark Myr, the halflings, I've never been that excited about halflings before this game. It's amazing with their update on halflings, what they're coming up with. So I really love what they're doing.
I
with
think it's a
the
great update for them because they
They-
will always
yeah.
kick around.
They look very appetizing. I agree.
They've, the law as well has helped bring all these classes, all these races into a new dimension. And I never used to be interested in DPS or playing halflings and stuff like that. But now I'm like, I'm really excited to try out every single race and try out even classes that I never even played before.
Exactly. Scar also, that's got me really curious because that's something really different. Just like Arkai, it's very specific to the game.
The new or the old ones?
They don't have digitigrade legs.
Oh, I don't even care about that.
Oh.
that was an interesting part, but
well, that's what was different anatomically the most with them for me. And it, like, you guys even talked about races that are more animalistic. Like, I would like to see a race like the merfolk that does have a snake bottom half of the body. And maybe they can't wear that kind of armor. You know, that's a whole other discussion. But I like to see that, you know, going away from the humanoid form. But again, it's an MMO, so that's tough. I just looked at the new Scar in depth yesterday, preparing for this. I'm not sure. I like the original Scar. The new Scar have some good things too. So
no, Shy. No.
No.
Are you not a
frog
fan?
Hey,
Rex?
I can give my opinion.
You
I
can.
can give my opinion.
Just
Let's
like
hear it.
Yarn can give his and be wrong.
Oh, shut up.
Good day, mate.
I will find you and kill you, Jan.
Nice.
Now it's on. Now it's recorded. So if
words.
anything happens to
Hey,
it, it'll be recorded.
so yep, exactly.
We'll be doing this in the underworld.
Yep.
So relating to starting areas and so forth, do you prefer starting in a new area for each single race, or starting in a single area where everybody gets together?
Right. So that's kind of what I referred to, I think.
Mhm.
Whereas because I wasn't sure about that question before too. Yeah. So I definitely prefer everybody has their own, because that's how you the first impressions, and you learn your culture and everything, and I think it's the best for role playing too, if you're into that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How do you feel with separate starting areas, with friends trying to get together, in the terms of it does, in that respect, make things a little more difficult for new players?
Exactly.
Yeah, that is definitely one downside.
Yeah, that is
to it.
probably the prime argument towards a unified starting area. Just curious what your thoughts are on that.
I think that's where Kelethin came in EverQuest, right? The Tree City. It was Kelethin, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a great meeting point, and people figured out a way to have the darker races work out there too. So yeah, I get it, but if we have kind of areas like that, maybe not completely open, but you still have the guards, and you can figure out ways, that kind of work that aren't bugs. I think that's a better way for me.
That's actually a pretty good topic for a show. Talking about basically, we got the starting areas obviously, but instead of you can still have those, and those will be the places that you need to go to and everything. But having like areas inside,
and what are the mechanics to get to one another?
Exactly,
well?
inside the different continents, basically, like kind of central hubs. But there's nothing really of interest there. There's nothing major that you could do. I think that might be a really cool workaround, because that is something that people do want to do. When we log into the game for the first time, we want to do it with friends and guild mates,
Exactly.
and get together and just start exploring and going crazy.
Oh yeah, because you know exactly what's going to happen when Pantheon's released. Everybody here is going to be playing, the race they want, a Dark Mirror, an Archai, and then I'll be playing the Scar, and everyone's going to be waiting on me to get to somewhere that everyone can get to, and I'm probably going to die halfway there, and they got to start all over again.
Yeah. I think it's hard to predict, because before in EverQuest, these things were formed by people. So I'm hoping Pantheon creators, they're kind of aware of that and setting it up subtly for us to kind of discover and form ourselves, and then they'll kind of back it up maybe because they're already aware of these things.
Yeah, it's interesting. Okay, well, change of pace. Would you like to see open world housing, instant, or a mix of both?
When you guys say instanced housing, would that be for the whole community, or when you enter the house?
When you enter the house, for instance.
I like everything open world because that's most real. Although it's heavy, it's the most heavy, but I think in this day and age, that's fine for most gamers. So yeah, I prefer open world.
Now, are you playing anything while you're waiting for Pantheon?
I'm playing Witcher 3 a little bit. That's going to be my first gameplay for the channel. So I'm editing 14 hours of gameplay right now.
You got further than I've got.
Maybe.
I've had this game.
At the time, I didn't say where I got.
I've had this game now for I think 2 years, and I never get past the point where you have to go and attack the griffin. That's the furthest I've ever got in this game. I just
Fight, pretty much.
yeah, I just can't get further.
What's
See, I would have thought that he would have got sidetracked by female nudity.
Hey, come on.
Well, that's how it starts, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what it is. What's blocking me to,
Get further.
to get further. I think it's because there's so much to do. Because it's
That's the
such
funny
a
thing about games. Everybody has that one game that they desperately want to enjoy, but they never really seem to get very far in.
Yeah.
I've definitely got one of those games.
It feels like such a load of work before you go in, so you keep procrastinating too.
Mm.
You know, and
Mm-hmm.
and also
The thing for me is Fallout 4. I've probably played it from the start, probably 15, 20 times, but I can never finish the stupid game. Never get to the end of it for some reason.
That's me with the Fallout franchise.
I'm stuck on that as well, actually. After you escape and you meet your robot again, that's it. That's the end of the game for me. And it's a cycle. It's a cycle again and again.
I think Fallout's like that for a lot of people, because like the Elder Scrolls, I'll play pretty much until the main game quest is done. But Fallout, I just can't get past a certain point. Always, it's just so dry. Maybe
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But Fallout 2, Fallout 3, I can get through those. But just this one for some reason, so
Don't
weird.
touch 76, right?
Not with my enemies, Bodge Pole.
Right. So let's go in there, bring it back in.
Never.
So, what mechanics are you mostly looking forward to from within Pantheon?
Oh, mechanics. So I'm curious. Probably the one that's the most mentioned is the perception system.
Mm-hmm.
And what's his name? You guys had a person on here that has a YouTube channel too, and you had him. Nathan Napalm.
Yeah.
Cool channel. So shout out to him. He was on here, and I started watching him, and he made a video again on recently on the perception system, pertaining to the latest update from Pantheon. So I'm excited about that. I want to see how that works. The other ones are progeny system.
Mm-hmm.
The high level characters, once you retire them, you can have someone. You can create a new one with a little bit of perks. I want to see how that's going to work. NPC, the AI, I'd like to see something new, like really new with that. So I'm excited about that. And then the climate system and the different things, not just the spells, but even further what they can do with the whole climate system. I think that adds a lot of reality to the game.
Yeah. Cool.
Nice. So you mentioned virtual reality early on. If you were in Pantheon and virtual reality was something that was part of the game, what would you look forward to the most?
If Pantheon was on VR, that would be it. When I first tried VR at a friend's house, I tried the demo with the alien standing there. At that time, I said that this is gaming how I felt it the first time as a child. I had that feeling like it was a rush. I wanted to play it again. I wanted to try it again. And ever since then, I've been wanting to see a VR MMO. I think that's the next level of MMOs. It's a little early still. So if anything, if Pantheon went to VR, that's it. I love it all. There's nothing specific.
But they did. The company's called Visionary Realms.
Yeah, right.
Oh God!
Hey, I had to, Come on.
I've played the VR game since, and I get a lot of motion sickness from that. I just can't handle a game past a certain point, and it has a lot to do with following your pupils. And again, it's a new technology, but as it develops, I think that's the next step.
That's basically going to be the biggest obstacle for virtual reality. Because it's like with 3D movies and everything. I can't see 3D. I can't view 3D, for instance. It just doesn't. My eyes are so bad. I just can't do it. And it's going to be the same with like virtual reality, the motion sickness, and finding a standard, because that's the biggest problem what we have right now is everybody wants to try and get in on virtual reality, and you can only use certain manufacturers for the PS4 or for the Xbox One or for for your PC, this, that, and the other, and only certain games are locked to certain manufacturers as well. And getting that standard in, having one that suits all, that's going to be the biggest obstacle for these companies to overcome. It's like when the 3D televisions came out. It happened way too late, but Samsung brought out a 3D glasses that would work on any TV device. But it came way too late, and then that basically just all fell apart. And that's what the biggest problem is going to be, is first of all that, and then obviously the motion sickness. Because I can see, or I predict a lot of people can have trouble with it. And obviously, my dad also tried out 3D as well, a few Christmases ago. And he was like on a normal chair, moving around everywhere and swinging his body everywhere. I was panicked. Like, I thought, he's going to fall over and break his leg or break an arm or break his neck even, because of the way he was moving and interacting with it. So that's also another thing that they've got to look at as well. So it's definitely going to be a huge obstacle to figure out a way for us to get into the virtual world without having the fear of hurting each other or hurting oneself, or puking all over the place. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Well, they have the new glasses coming out that have like 360 view, I think. So when those come out, hopefully I'll check them out. And that they made those to kind of work with those issues, but we'll see.
Yeah.
So listen to this next question. I really sincerely think that we need to get more females on the show, because I'm kind of tired of asking dudes this.
Well, I got one here.
And I said, does size matter?
I had to sit on the toilet and think about that one. So I think yes. The size of the character, right?
Thank God you added that last part.
It was a bad start, I know.
Yeah, you guys.
I think it should. I think it'd be cool to see specific areas that maybe only a gnome could get into. But to make it fair for everybody, you only find an item in there that gnomes can use. And the same for like an ogre. I like having a big size range in games. A big size difference. So maybe an ogre can jump onto a larger rock that the shorter races can't, and again, they can find quests there suited more for that size. I think that's totally relevant, and they wouldn't feel like they're missing out too much for the smaller races.
That's actually a cool mechanic to have as well. Like you have locked doors and there's a little crack in it, and you shove that gnome through the gnome through the door to unlock it. Hey, get in there and unlock this door for us.
Well, see, you could also do different options for the same objective based upon the size of the model. For instance, maybe a gnome can slip, because they're energy based, they can slip off their armor, slide through a crack like a keyhole. Maybe the ogre's big enough to where he can just push the door over.
Yeah. That'd actually be a cool mechanic to see. Like, you have a locked door, then and obviously you might not notice that it's magically sealed or something like that. So first of all, maybe there's a mechanic where the ogre can try and shove it open with brute force, and then you might notice a crack underneath, and then the gnome.
It's kind of funny. It's almost like racial specific lock picking, theoretically, with just different animations.
Hey, this is good stuff. I'm gonna have to make some notes for future shows.
And do you get a bonus if you're holding that gnome in your hand while you're trying to shove the door down?
If I use this gnome as a battering ram, do I get a bonus?
But the thing is, though, you still need to keep a bit of cloth though connected to the gnome so you can pull it back out.
Just use a halfling, same thing.
Hacking the system.
Let me actually make some notes quickly while we carry on.
No, I got it. If the door has a magic barrier on it, you get some jumper cables, hook it to the gnome and to the door. See if it shorts it.
Josh, do me a favor.
If there isn't one, you just go ahead and take a halfling by the feet and you bang them against the door till it opens.
Take the next question. Take the next question.
Question though.
Yeah, okay.
Is the gnome flammable?
I'm sure.
Hey, that's it. You know, you shove him just in between the crack, and then you set him on fire and burn the door down.
Yeah. Anything is flammable if you use the right accelerant.
I just have this image of the gnome with his jumper cables on going.
See, and then here you have that issue of ogres blocking the doorway like you had in EverQuest.
Yeah.
Alright, so Josh, take the next question while I make some mental notes for shows here. This is good stuff.
You stumble across a hidden area in Pantheon. You know the area is a bit too tough for you on your own, but you've heard the treasure from there is epic. What do you do?
Hit my limits. Go as deep as I can. Curiosity, you know. We got more than 9 lives in these games, so I'm definitely gonna track the area, map it out mentally. Where can I go without getting killed, and make a note to come back once I can go further. It's one of the first things I did in EverQuest when that came out. Is I wanted to travel to. I looked at the map and I wanted to get to this point, and I traveled there, running along the mountainside, you know, and all that. So yeah, exploration was a huge thing, and hopefully.
When you got there, there was nothing.
But I got there after several deaths. That's all I needed.
Awesome. So what feature in character creation could you do without, and why?
I think you guys, I was asking you if you changed your questions. I think you used to have a question, how much time do you spend creating your character? Also, right? So it's kind of, they're relevant. I mean, nothing. I would take out nothing, and because I personally spend too much time on the character creation, especially the first one, because I want to see everything. I love what the artists do, and being an artist from that angle, I like to see that, and I appreciate it. So I want to see the limits of everything. But to be realistic, I want to see limitations to races. Like, for example, what killed Arcade for me right at the start is I jumped into Arcade, and there was a big-boobed elf right there. And it didn't make any sense for me. I was filming that one or something, and I made a note of that. You know, elves are supposed to be stealthy, thin, quick, all that stuff. And that doesn't work with them unless it's like 1 in every 100 or 1,000. You know, you can have that. So maybe they can do something where they limit things, but it's unlocked every 100th person making their character, just so we can have those extremes, because in humanity we have extremes in animals as well. So that'd be kind of a cool thought.
You've got you're on a roll here, creating shows for us, dude. Show on character creation, having special unlocks that are randomized.
Hey,
that's actually a pretty cool idea.
I asked you months ago, and then we couldn't meet up, and then I got busy, so it's been building up, I guess.
That was a bad sign when you contacted me first. All I could do was be like, talk to him.
Well, that was cool, though. That's a shout out to Lex, by the way, too, because I recognized his name at least.
Yeah, I'm recognizable. Oh, it means I'm going to get egged in the street. So back on topic here. Let's broaden that question a little bit. Is there anything that you see in modern MMOs that you really don't want to see in Pantheon? For example, I hate vanity pets.
Yes. Microtransactions. First and foremost, we cannot have that, and I think they get that point. If they are there, well, we'll see. Vanity items. I like the ones that they give you if you're an early, you buy the game now, you can get a vanity. That's cool, because that's going to be there forever, but only the single few people can have it. That has meaning to it. Otherwise, they lose meaning immediately, and the game looks like a game, not like a world of its own. So microtransactions, vanity items, and pets, and all that other stuff that we don't want to see in modern MMOs. The quick leveling, hand holding. I want a beginner. If your area is tough to begin with, that's fine. They can have some harder areas to begin with for some races. As long as they have one easy area for each faction, like we had Freeport or something that you can travel to and you hear it's easier, that's cool. It's still got a balance and it feels real, you know?
Yeah.
Yep, reasonable. So, does it matter what gender you play? And if so, what is your preference in-game?
I play, if they're going to have the options of being male and female, I'm going to play male. If there's no options to choose, then it doesn't matter. I'm fine with either. Because I think there's still a lot of meaning to it. Because usually, unless you play on a server that's only RPG, then you should be more selective with it. But in an open world like that, I think it makes more sense because people treat you differently as a female already. Already when you're a newbie and you're female and you make yourself attractive, guys, being stupid as they are, they're going to come up to you and give you gold and give you armor just because you have a female character.
Never happened to me before.
It's a little ridiculous, but that's how it is. You can even do that just to get quick money sometimes. So because of that reason, and because you get so much into the game and you start to connect with people, I do like to still keep that male form.
Yeah, see, for me, it's like, I don't know. I can't get into playing a female. I have desperately tried, and I just don't feel right.
I wonder how you tried.
I tried by making a female character and playing it from level 1 to max level, and when I got to max level, I deleted it.
Well, maybe you need to, you know, create some kind of background story for yourself. That's what I've done. That's the reason why I play, you know, female healers. The male characters are the tanks, the females are the healers. How I go about with DPS later on, it'd be a mix and match most probably.
For me, I think it's just a matter of I can't relate to that character. I don't know.
Get in touch with your soft feelings, Lexa.
Oh, I'm a big softie these
There are
days.
female scars.
There are. But they still look dumb. Just like the males.
Yeah.
I'm really fingers crossed that the new graphics upgrade makes them look at least mean.
Yeah.
That's my last hope at this point.
I'm sure. I'm very confident. I'm very confident that the concerns on the Scar have been heard. And like we talked about last time, I really think that basically what we all saw as the new Scar models is most probably the basic Scar, the lowest of the tier of hierarchy going as a Scar, because we do know that the Scar do have like a kind of tribal essence.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure.
I didn't mean to turn that into a bellyache.
It's been a long bellyache though. You know, you get that sorted out.
It has, but you got to remember, I'm extremely passionate about the race. No other race in Pantheon appeals to me. Just the Scar. That's it.
Let it go, Lex. Let it go.
Every group needs someone like that.
Exactly.
So, in terms of the environments within Pantheon, which are you looking forward to the most spending time in there?
Let's see. You said which
environments? So your cold environments, your toxic environments, those type of environments, because they're going to have multiple things that will affect your progression throughout the game, and some of them might be pretty cool.
I guess all of them with the perception system added in. I'd like to see the impact these extreme kind of environments have. So I'd say any kind of extreme environment would be interesting. On the whole topic of climate, I'd like to see effects of snowfall.
That was going to actually be my next question.
Yeah, even footprints. Although footprints, that's a lot of, I think, RAM, because I'm not sure, but I think short-term memory. But even just the same map, but with snow on it. So it just has to reload. Yeah, and then maybe a mid-level snowfall to it too. So yeah, just be a load on your system, a preload, I guess.
Kind of seasons as well. I'd love to see seasons happen, and have zones in environments where there might not be any seasons whatsoever. There might be some magical area where they don't have any snowfall or thunderstorms or rain. It's just pure heat, for instance.
Yeah. I mean, let's face it, having a blizzard in a desert would be odd.
Well, you know, it all depends on how they go about the story. You know, maybe this, you know, this could be like some kind of special event where that sand area is now flooded. You know, a major storm, some dragon or some god or whatever unleashed his wrath and flooded that area. So now maybe that zone's not available for us at the moment, and that could be like kind of a time sink, kind of a way to break us off into a different direction to try and figure out alternative ways to level up and explore.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that as an event, but
yeah, there's so many ways they can do it because it requires time to do it, like you said. But they can just close it down, and it could be in the story itself, so it wouldn't anger you and make you more curious.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's a kind of a loaded question. How do you feel about data mining? Things like people tearing apart patch files to find stuff like models that might be, you know, pre-down or pre-included for an expansion where they kind of give away certain things. But on the other side of the spectrum, things like websites that provide quest walkthroughs and such.
I forgot where this was mentioned, but they're kind of working on keeping that complex, so that things aren't as easy to write down, and like it has to be a particular time of night or day, and with other specifications to that moment. So I think they're going about it the right way because it's really hard. The mining, the data is going to get out there anyway, and I'm fine with it. I mean, when I was playing EverQuest at the beginning and I saw like the whole beast theory, you know, that was helpful. I even bought the little book with the maps. What I do hope, because it's going to get out there anyway, so I want them to try as hard to make it complex, but I also want to see Pantheon release extra little things like a map, like a book of maps, their own things that is official from Pantheon, and it just completes the whole branding even of the game and the universe. So
they can have like a Pantheon monthly magazine, and inside that magazine is a piece of a map for a certain zone or continent and everything. You can like collect all 12, and then you got a big massive map built up on the back behind you. That'd be awesome.
See, Yarn wants a monthly magazine because he wants a Brad centerfold picture.
This person right there behind
the map. We'll get the Brad centerfold.
Signed, personally signed.
Oh God! You know what? Next time you see him, like at that German GameCom or whatever it was, you just got to give him a Sharpie, have him like sign your arm, and then go get it tattooed and be done with it.
I'll get it on the chest.
Wherever you want.
Wherever you want.
At least then it might look it might be a little intimidating if you walk up to him with a Sharpie going, "Please sign my breast."
I can also use a branding iron and just brand me.
I'd be more than happy to brand you.
Would you guys like to see me do it?
Of course.
Oh, there you go. We'll have Brad tattoo
Do
you.
it for Pantheon. Yeah. It's gonna double your viewers.
Live.
Have we found the next contest then?
We have. He's gonna do a contest for a dumb T-shirt with my face on it. We're gonna get him tattooed. That'll show him.
Oh God.
See, this is the kind of stuff, though, that updating stuff that finally kind of ended Vanguard for me. And it wasn't Brad's fault. Later, I found out it was the whole, umbrella, the corporation. But I just didn't feel like the developers were updating the world. You started to feel that the world was becoming stagnant. If Pantheon did something as small as a newsletter, you still at least feel that the world's alive, the developers care. It doesn't matter if the popularity is going down, but the point is that the creators still care about the game, and that's really, really important.
Oh yeah, that's actually a very good point. I play a couple open world sci-fi games, and they do almost bi-weekly newsletters that tell you exactly what's changed. so that you kind of, if you want to be a part of it, you can, and you know what to look for. And it has actually gotten me back into the starter areas to where it's like, you know, you start to feel a little nostalgic. Oh, I remember being in this area as a little baby, and now I'm a big tough. Oh God, what is that? I'm dying. Please, someone help me.
Nice. I heard Neverwinter Nights is doing this well. I haven't played it, but I heard good things about it.
I haven't played that in forever. But moving on, if you would be so kind, please share a little bit of information about your YouTube channel.
So we are World of Monsters. I've been doing it for about 3.5 years, full-time for 3 years, pretty much. And it's everything monster. We go in depth on monsters of movies, mythology, games, stories, everything. And like I said, I try to break them down scientifically as much as possible. That was the motivation behind the channel, is that I'm a big fan and I love animals.
Welcome to World.
The thing is, a lot of the animals on this planet have been explored and discovered and classified, and it's harder and harder to do that. So I decided, let's classify monsters. Let's go in depth on that. Let's see what they would be like if they were real. And that's why we explore the anatomy. And so it entails a lot of history, especially with mythology monsters. I learn a lot about our history and like the darker history and the history of our language even. And then a lot of psychology too, when you're exploring these different entities. And again, biology and physiology. You've got to learn a lot. Like I did a video on the Strigoi of the Strain TV series, these kind of vampires, and it was really fascinating. And that's a Guillermo del Toro based show, and he's really into biology. If you know Guillermo it's hard to pronounce, del Toro, you know, he created Pan's Labyrinth, Hellboy, all that. So it's cool because that's how he started. As a kid, he was reading science books and stuff, and that's why his monsters are believable. So anyway, that's what we do, and now I'm trying to expand because of how YouTube is doing things. I'm trying to expand with Twitch too, so we're on Twitch as well, and that's where we're streaming. And every Saturday we're doing the Monster Cast, the voices of the Monsterhood. Shout out to you guys. Every time we pretty much do a show. So yeah, that's it. Everything monster.
Nice.
The video I'm working on right now is, for example, the difference between what a ghoul is and a zombie. So if you're interested,
that's actually interesting.
Very interesting.
Because people actually tend to think that they're both the same or mix it up, get them all mixed up and everything. Not. But there's a huge
similarity. But...
Yeah. A big difference, but yeah.
So cool that you guys know
that. So, are you going to be hosting Pantheon when it gets released on your YouTube channel?
I think since I'm trying to keep YouTube organized still to specific things, just to make sure our audience knows what to expect, I'm keeping streams to Twitch and edited, if I do edited gameplay, then to YouTube. So it may possibly appear on there, but most certainly on Twitch we will be there.
So I've got an idea for you as well for your channel, because you obviously explore the monsters and everything. What about exploring the monsters of Pantheon that's revealed in the newsletter, and maybe trying to bring the lore, that's the unique aspect to it, and explain it to people in layman's terms. Maybe that might be something as well to bring onto your channel, to add to that as well, and at the same time you contribute to the Pantheon community as well. Or is that something that's already planned?
I'm not sure. We're gonna have to see how much I'm gonna enjoy the game, how much I'm gonna have time for the game. I think that's a huge question. Even an idea of like a National Geographic like show of the wilderness, and just we still streamed, but just take out those clips and add to them for the YouTube channel, kind of watching this creature in the wilderness, as that's the cool thing with MMOs. You got the whole world already out there, so you can actually observe things. So it's a possibility. We'll just see, and we'll see when Pantheon comes out. I'm wondering if you guys have any updates, especially for our friend.
It won't be for a while.
Yeah. And it's all good. As long as, you know, they take their time and do it right.
That's the important part.
So where could people like get in touch with you if they wanted to reach out and, you know, ask about monsters apart from your YouTube channel and Twitch and everything? Is there any other way people can get in contact with you? And second question, I have to pull up, if you can pull up your website that you have as well. You've got some wonderful art on there. So tell us about your artistic side, because I've seen some of those sketches you've done, and they're definitely outstanding. You know, really good job on those art pieces. And you know, we briefly talked about them. You know, their sketches basically. Are you planning to do something more on the digital side as well? Try and get into art that way as well?
Cool. Yeah, thanks. So first of all, you can contact the About page on our YouTube channel. That has the email on there. We're also on Facebook. You can find us everywhere if you look for World of Monsters or World of Monsters TV. Also pretty active on Instagram. So you can contact there, and any comment you write down, I'll read it. So if you want a video on a specific kind of monster or theme or whatever monster related, just leave a comment anywhere on any video and I'll pick it up. YouTube still at least organizes that for us in the dashboard. And I do read them all still. And as far as the art, yeah, those are on the website. They're mostly sketches. In the galleries, you can see a couple of digital paintings I've done. So I've done digital. I do acrylic painting. I have a video on my channel that's acrylic painting of Pyramid Head from Silent Hill. One of the most or longest paintings I've ever done with acrylic. Now I'm doing miniature painting because I'm preparing to play a board game, like try to do a cinematic playthrough with a board game. I haven't seen it yet on YouTube. I want to see if I can get it down the way I want it. So I'm painting those miniatures and I'm trying to get to another level with them, because that's, I don't know, that's maybe what you do at this age. When you get into something, you take it to another level, because why not? I don't have kids, so I guess that's my kid is pushing it like that. So I do all kinds of stuff, and then sculpting too. I'm trying to get to polymer clay now and do high detailed busts and airbrush them and paint those, but not sure when that's going to happen. I've done 3D sculpting on ZBrush, and I've printed out a couple monsters before. I haven't showcased them yet on this channel. I have on another one in the past, and paint those up. So I'm kind of all over the place with this. That's why when I created World of Monsters, the channel, it was kind of a midlife crisis kind of feeling thing, an early midlife crisis thing for me, because I'm so all over the place. But the channel, I realized everything I do is kind of monster related or fantasy related, so it kind of puts everything into a specific direction, so I'm not really all over the place.
Which is a good thing, though, isn't it? You know,
Yeah.
not necessarily being like everybody else. You know that cover a broad spectrum of topics. You know, being a niche. You know, like we do. All we're going to do on this channel is talk about Pantheon. You know, there's hundreds of other games we could look at, but you know, we're Pantheon specific. It's the same with you, with your monsters and everything. You know, you'd be the go-to guy if anybody asked me, hey, you know, who can tell me about monsters? They'd be like, you know, hey, go see Arthur on World of Monsters, because that sticks into your head.
Oh yeah, and I will say, when you mentioned that you're looking at doing like busts and sculptures, I'm gonna have to keep an ear to the ground on that one, because I have a particular love for a specific monster, so. Yeah.
Right on. Yeah, it gave me a sense of direction, and when you have that, you can finally be sort of satisfied or happy, because otherwise you just feel like you're all over the place, but you're not getting anywhere quick. Now we talk about nothing. We have so much knowledge about nothing, and it feels great, because at least we got a sense of direction, and that's who we are. We're nerds. We know a whole lot about nothing. We should be proud of that. There's a place for it.
Ain't that the truth?
So let's bring it back in, and what do you think about third-party apps linked to Pantheon to improve the game? Something like, you know, set crafting outside of the game, or DKP programs that basically use in-game data, or even a communication app where you could basically from outside of the game, communicate with your guild, for instance, and let them know that you're going to be late or you're not going to show up today. Things like that that would basically advance the experience.
Cool. Yeah, I was thinking the question was more related to some kind of bots that automatically do something for you, like kill something over and over so you gain experience by doing nothing yourself. That I'm definitely totally against. But once you mention the guild stuff, I think totally, and I think it should be run and owned by Pantheon before some other website creator does that. They should have their own website where you contact your guild when you can't play. You can put updates on there, little app. Yeah, I think definitely. I think Pantheon needs to make a mobile app as soon as they release the game with stuff maybe like that too. Yeah, it's a great idea.
Nice. If you had to pick a character creation from another game and put it into Pantheon, which one would you choose and why?
I think the latest one that I tried, the most in-depth one, because I like in-depth again, I spend too much time on them, is the one from Black Desert. That one was pretty in-depth, and I think the highest right now, graphic-wise, out of the MMOs there. So I want Pantheon to do their own thing, but if we were to, like you said, borrow something, then I think that's a pretty good-looking one.
Cool.
Yeah. So let's kind of go into imagination land here for a minute. Let's fast forward 3 years into a Pantheon release. What is it that you hope Pantheon has become?
So it's going to be out in 3 years?
Well, let's assume that it's 3 years past its release.
Hey, we did not say that.
No, we did not.
Right. I would like to see... What I would really like to see is for the developers to impact the land and the world by what we do. I still don't think there's an MMO that does this. EverQuest Next was hinting at this, but there's nothing like that out there. So if we got, if we're killing the same orc tribe over and over, and there's raids and it like big, huge attacks are going over and over, eventually the creators, the developers should change that piece of the geography or the
battery low
there. And it doesn't have to be instant or, you know, because it's a lot of work, but it could be in every 6-month updates, every year, whatever. But slowly I would like to see the world change a little. So if I haven't played in 3 years,
charging battery.
The first time I played was 3 years ago, then I come back and the world looks different. I don't want it to be like EverQuest 2 where they just change things, but I want to like hear from the story that this was happening because a huge group of people were affecting it. You know, the lore is still being in there. So yeah, that'd be really awesome to see. And yeah, just the developers keeping up. Like you feel that they're still out there watching you. When you feel that in the game, it feels alive. Once you feel like nobody cares, nobody's watching, that stagnation again, then, you know.
It adds to the complexity of the game as well, and the challenge aspect. Especially if they do this, you know, on a broader spectrum, like in dungeons and everything. You know, like, you know, the 1,000th group have now gone into this dungeon and you just torn everything apart. Those orcs or those goblins that are in there, they might pack up and leave. But we also speculated on a show where you might have NPC combat as well, where you have like this dungeon, like Haunia's Cave, for instance. That's, you know, occupied by wraith and rats and all this, the ratkin and everything. Maybe some other monsters from the world try and make their way into Haunia's Cave and take it over. So you could have, like, you know, the NPC behaviors feel even more immersive. Because the world's actually competing against itself as well, competing. So you've got the players versus environment, you've got the environment versus environment.
Yeah, yeah. And like you said, either they're going to pack up and leave, or they should go up in level and become more powerful because they're dealing with the same enemy over and over.
That's true.
And some of these things are pretty small, but they add so much lore, like physically, into the game. Yep. Again, I feel like it's just care from the developer side.
Yeah, I mean, all that we've talked about is basically just adds a new layer. And it's with Pantheon, we wanted to have multiple layers, whereas with your standard MMO today might have 2 layers to it.
Well,
maybe.
Yeah, right.
The thing is, you know, we want to play a game again for decades, not a couple of years. You know, most of these MMOs now, you'll play them for a year, 2 years tops, then you'll take a break because you're fed up, this, that, and the other. I want to be able to say that I have exclusively played Pantheon for like 15 years, you know, or 20 years, you know, without any interruption. And I want that feeling back again, where I can say, you know, I commit my personal time to enjoying myself by playing with online friends or real life friends an online game called Pantheon. Something I can talk about and be passionate about.
That's why I never felt bad if they charge you $15 a month or whatever, because you're putting so much time in there. It's keeping you from going to restaurants or spending money elsewhere.
It's
exactly.
Cheapest entertainment you can get. You pay $15 and you can play 30 days 24/7 if you wanted to. And plus, you know, paying a sub as well helps commit to the game and helps the development company behind it, because they're getting a sturdy income that is going to keep all their finances, the payroll for all the artists, developers, etc. That's all covered. All the advertisements and everything, you know, it's all covered. They got a fixed income with what they can work with. They can then plan out how their expansions are going to be done, where they put their resources in because of, you know, the way the funding is going. That's what people don't realise. You know, a lot of people are all against sub models and everything. I think it should be all free to play. There's pros and cons to it, but the biggest pro is it's a steady income. It's a guaranteed income, and you can expect as well as a paying customer that you get quality content going forward.
Exactly.
So, would you attend a Pantheon type event, and how far would you travel to get there, and what would get you there?
Again, it depends how much I'm enjoying the game at the time that it's out, and yeah, where my life status is at then. I would say I would attend if, for example, I had a pretty active big guild, and, you know, I could meet a lot of people there like that. Or maybe have a little booth or talk of some sort, you know, talking about, you know, the monsters of Pantheon, for example, you know, and get our subscribers over there and things like that. So something like that. You know, I'm getting older, and it gets harder and harder to sometimes go somewhere, you know. So just the motivation. So having some purpose behind it, or some friendly faces that I can recognize, definitely would help. A friend to go with. If you guys are there.
Yep. So do you have a current guild, or are you planning on joining a guild? What is your preference to it?
I'm usually in the boat where I like to run the thing. I don't like to join a guild and not being a part of it or believe in it, you know. Some of my favorite days in EverQuest was when I took over a friend's guild. That changed the game completely for me, how active you are in the game. I mean, most of the time you'd be chatting with people in the guild rather than doing stuff out, but it was so fun. So I love management, I love community management, so I'd love to run one. If I don't, then I'll probably find you guys out and join the VOT guild, you know. Work my way up the ladder there.
You can have my seat. That way I can nap.
Yeah, we'll just put you in as a, you know, we'll take all your responsibilities away, Lex, and just have you as the enforcer. How about that?
That is my unofficial title.
Enforcing power.
Oh, people on our Discord know I love to swing that banhammer. Oh, it makes me, it just tingles in all the right places.
That's the only reason that is because that's really the only power Lexa has. It's all make believe.
What he wants.
How long have you guys been on Discord, by the way?
How long has Discord been around?
Discord's been around, I think, 4 or 5, maybe 6 years. I think maximum 6 years.
Maybe. I don't even remember anymore.
It was definitely around when the EQN debacle was all, and that was basically that shut down 2014, I think it was, or 16. I can't remember. 14, 16. So it's definitely been around a few years. But if there's one guy who can answer that question without a doubt, it should be Zathras, who's in chat as well, because he's in every single Discord channel there is. So Zath, how long has Discord been around?
Actually, that's not true. I don't think he's in my personal Discord.
Yeah, it's a pretty awesome little system. Like I said, I'm fairly new. I think we've been running it since last summer. But I just love and I like the roles and stuff you can set and playing around with that. It's pretty fun.
It's a very powerful communication software or application, because you can have everybody in one place. And you can do so much with it, like you said, with the roles, and give certain permissions, create text channels, voice channels, and you can basically leave messages behind that are, on the fly. You can communicate. And that's the great thing with us. Us being an international guild. For us in Europe, we're a few hours ahead. We can leave little messages for the guild and keep them apprised of everything that's going on, which is so great. The communication level of what Discord offers is just fantastic. And Discord's been around years, at least 4 or 5. So yeah, I was pretty close to it. Google says May 2015, but was in beta before. So officially 2015.
This live view, this is all new to me, so that's cool. I was wondering if they have something like this on Discord, so it's really nice.
Yeah, it was added not that long ago. Just it had its problems up until recently.
Okay.
So now we come to the only question.
The only question that counts.
That's it. And depending on the answer, we may just cut everything and go to the last question. Who is the VOT host with the most?
I love it. I love your wording on it. It's I always see you guys that everybody has their position in it. Yarnilla runs the things, so obviously by default people would shout him out and I'd shout him out. Lex is that voice out there, that kind of fun
I'm fun. This is news to me.
Chaotic voice. Yeah, there we go.
There you go.
Joshua is kind of the voice of reason, just the way he presents himself, And then we have Shy as that spirit, that kind of just, gives this melody and rhythm to the whole place.
I like him. Can we keep him?
I suppose.
And I know what Yarnilla goes through. This is my first time being on this side of things. I'm always the one interviewing someone or asking questions and preparing all that crap. So I really appreciate, the effort that you guys do, first of all, for coming here together for as long as you have been.
It's all yarn. I don't do a damn thing.
Yeah, so it's just a shout out to Yarn for doing all that. Yeah.
Well, it's not possible without the other two, is it? Or with with everybody here, even the guests and everything, and without the game, and we're a unit, and we complete each other basically. Everybody does their part, and that's why we've been. I mean, I was talking to my wife the other day. Looking back at this, we're reaching our 3-year mark in March, and to think that basically I knew nobody 3 years ago. You were all strangers. Everybody that I've connected with has been strangers. We've been together now 3 years, and I consider a lot of these people in our community family already. It's amazing to see how communities are built, and it's been a blast.
Absolutely. Thank you to the internet.
Yeah.
Changed the world for us.
Very true.
So that concludes basically the interview portion of things. Shy, are there any questions from chat?
Yes, there are.
You want to go and start them off?
Well, I was going to say we have 2 questions. First one from our own Razum. And he would like to ask Monster, from the caster spells released so far, is there one that wowed you most?
From the spells that they've released on the website?
I'm assuming he means from the spells that have been released, to that we know about so far. Is there any one that made you go, ooh?
I was looking at the classes again last night a bit, and I noticed the summoner has.
Oh, I like you even more now.
Their pets, and they're sounding pretty good. They sound pretty big too as you go up in levels. I want to see those big pets. And the wizard, I think, as well has a fiery pet as well. So that's interesting for me. I like the titles.
They're little
they put on their
familiar.
spells. Familiars. I like the titles they put on the spells. They kind of give them a fresh new feel. Even if it's the same similar thing that they used to be, they still feel pretty fresh with how they named them and everything. So nothing in particular, but it's just good to see the good old summoning stuff.
Oh yes, I'm a summoner at heart, so I totally hear you there. Our next and final question is from Bizzer Girl, and she wants to know if there was going to be anything after once we ding max level that you've heard of. Any kind of point system like AAs, or what would you like to see?
Oh, okay. I never got too far in EverQuest where I did start to experience that extra stuff. So I'm sure they're working on something like that, and you guys probably know more about that than I do. So yeah, I definitely like to see something like that, and very class-specific, race-specific stuff like that. Yeah, just to keep the game alive and going. But for me, it never really mattered that much, because if I get to the top level with a certain class and character, hey, there's so many other races, I want to play so many other classes. So, I'm always open to that. One thing I did want to mention real quick to you guys as a thought, since we did talk a little bit about cryptocurrencies off chat here, but I always thought that that's something that Pantheon should implement into their banking system, is some sort of decentralized banking system, so that the number of coins are managed, but your coins also, there's a savings account in the banks, so that when you don't play for 2 years, you don't get this vanity gift for not playing, but your coin actually grew in the
grows with the
system,
market,
and it's
basically,
all
right?
Watched, yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
talked.
Which they can make a real coin out of this, and Pantheon.
There's actually been a lot of programmers like myself that we sit around, we talk about interesting things just like that. And one of them was say introducing a blockchain where every item is a block in the chain. So every item is its own unique entity, not just a clone of an item in a database.
Yeah.
And that way you can alter very specific items to reflect what a person has accomplished. For example, if you kill 1,000 orcs with this rusty longsword, it becomes a rusty longsword of orc slaying. And it actually won't affect any other sword of that type. But yeah, I mean, I would love to see, honestly, any game implement newer technology like that.
Let me note this down.
And I mean, the developers are smart. They could probably figure out how to develop their own coin even, and imagine how much funding they would get. How many silly coins out there got millions of dollars?
There are a lot of new usages coming to the surface now for stuff like cryptocurrency. For example, there's a network out there that they're trying to get it worked on their second version of the technology, where you network servers together and you're basically renting the free space. The more space you rent that's actually used, the more coins you get. There is a gaming one out there, but to be honest, the way it has been approached seems very gimmicky to me, and very almost like a pyramid scheme. So I stay away from that one.
Gotcha. Sorry guys for veering off the path there.
That's fine. That's fine.
It's all good.
So, any other questions, Shy, or was that?
That was it.
Okay.
That was it.
So that basically concludes this show. But before we all disappear and wander off screen and everything, the planned contest that we actually originally had planned to start basically at the beginning of December, we'll do that when we come back from break, because obviously now we have the Christmas season coming up. people's minds and thoughts are going to be elsewhere, so it makes no point doing it now. So we'll do that when we come back, and that's the first thing I want to point out. Next week will be our final show for this year. We'll be sitting down with some community members again. We'll have Bazgrim on, Sacred. We'll have Nathan Napalm on, Lionheart. Pantheon Radio will be here. Maybe you've got time next week as well, Arthur, as well, to pop in and sit down with us. So we're going to have a few guests on, basically, and we're going to have a look back at the last half year of what Visionary Realms have been doing, and just have some fun talking about Pantheon. Yeah, so that will basically be that, and then we'll be on break till the 10th of January, and we're back on the 11th. We're also currently working hard to try and get our show listing for 2019 prepared, at least for the first quarter of the year, so that we can release that to the public, so you guys can see what's coming up going into 2019. Yes, we will still be doing a show in 2019 and going on strong, hopefully, throughout the next many years to come. So that's all that. And Arthur, it was great having you on. Very interesting stuff, and nice insights to some of the mechanics and thoughts behind what you think about the questions we asked and everything. And there's ever a show that you want to do, or if you want to do something about monsters and everything, and you can't quite get there on your own, you can bring it to us and we can collab that way as well, and maybe do a show on the monsters of Pantheon or whatever. Yeah, definitely love to have you on again. So
yeah. It was certainly nice to see the man behind the videos.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you guys very much.
So with that, everybody, have a wonderful weekend, and don't forget, we'll see you all next week for the final show of the year. It's going to be a big one. So we'll see you all then. Take care.
Yeah.
Bye,
Be
everybody.
safe, everybody.
Have a great holiday. Or a
Cheers,
great
guys.
weekend, rather.
Every weekend's a holiday.
Yeah.